In this video, I'm going to show you every component of a 1-inch Irritrol 2400 series valve by taking it apart and then putting it back together. In the second half of this video, I'm going to show you a real-life example of how to clean out and rebuild a 1-inch Irritrol 2400 series valve. Begin by removing the solenoid by unthreading it counterclockwise. Next, remove the manual bleed assembly. Next, remove the O-ring, followed by the bleed screw. Unthread the nut cap. If it's tight, this may require channel locks or a custom jar top opening device. Remove the cover assembly, followed by the spring, the diaphragm, and then finally the divider. Now you are just left with the valve body. To reassemble the valve, first install the divider, followed by the diaphragm and then the spring. Place the cover assembly inside the nut cap and thread onto the valve body. Reinstall the bleed screw, followed by the O-ring, then the manual bleed assembly. Finally, reinstall the solenoid, making sure not to cross-thread it. Now let's do a real-life example. Begin by turning the water supply off to the sprinkler system. You have a few options to do this. Locate the isolation valve for the sprinkler system. This should be within 5 feet of the water meter or up by the house close to the customer shutoff valve. If you cannot access the isolation valve or it is broken, you can also turn your system off at the backflow prevention device by turning off one of the check valves. If you can't access either of these devices, then turn the water off to the whole property at the water meter. Begin your valve rebuild/clean out by removing the solenoid by unthreading it counterclockwise. Next, remove the manual bleed assembly. In this example, the manual bleed assembly was already detached. Unthread the nut cap. I have a custom jar top opening device which makes this job super easy. If you do not have one, you may have to dig the valve box up and use channel locks to unthread the nut cap. Remove the cover assembly, followed by the spring, the diaphragm, and then finally the divider. Now you are just left with the valve body. Use a shop vac to suck out all the dirty water and debris that is clogging the valve. You could also use a hand pump, needle nose pliers, or any other hand tool that would help remove anything stuck inside the valve body. Next, take a brand new 1-inch Irritrol 2400 series valve and disassemble it. Then, using these new parts, reassemble the valve that is in the ground. First, install the divider, followed by the diaphragm and then the spring. Place the cover assembly inside the nut cap and thread it onto the valve body. Use channel locks or a jar top opening device to tighten the nut cap into place. Finally, install the manual bleed assembly and the solenoid, making sure not to cross-thread it. If you install a new solenoid, then you will want to make new wire splice connections at the valve. The final step in this process is turning the water back on to the system.